I come out for 2 years. And that's a whole different life. For me, I like to act. I love to act. If I could act every day, that would be wonderful. Which is why in semi-retirement here, I'm working as much or more than I did, before. But now, I mean, I think, honestly, I'm a Midwest kid. I would never have quit that job. It just wasn't in me. I wasn't raised that way. You got a good job, why would you quit to go look for something else? I mean, it's crazy. And so I wouldn't have quit it for a variety of reasons. But since it quit me, I will tell you that I have it's been wonderful. I've gotten to do things that I've wanted to do for so long. I mean, I did stand-up for 20 years, and I wanted so badly to do a one-man show. I just thought that would be, but to be able to conceive it, write it, block it, edit it, and then perform it, this is wonderful. I mean, I'm so thoroughly enjoying doing this. And then combining it with the in-school program where I go to a community and teach. In this economic times, it's just so sad that, so many of these high schools, the kids come out in bright, shiny football helmets, but the art's been cut.
Exactly.
So much. And so to be able to go in, I mean, the experience I just had in my hometown here, and had 4 seminars at my high school, my old high school, and these kids are talented, and they are bright, and they are just so hungry for somebody who's got some, real-world experience with this, and it's not theoretical, it's actual, to come in and teach them and guide them and nurture them and mentor them. And, so now I go to the communities where I go in and I teach, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then I either do a performance for the student body, or sometimes they, like here, they didn't want me to do that. They said, no, we'd rather have you teach seminars. So I added a couple of days of seminars. And then on Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, I use their performance space, their auditorium, to do Wild Bill for the public. And then they get 20% of the box office. So they make money for their theater department. So it's nice. I mean, a good deal is a good deal for everybody.
Yeah.
In my mind, to my mind. And this is a good deal. I get to teach. They get to learn. I get to do this thing. I get to make some money doing it. Then school gets to make some money when I do it.
Right.
So it's just really, I'm just very excited about it. And, now that I've got a couple under my belt, we're going to roll it out nationally. And I really hope that it catches on. If I could be home until, say, Wednesday night and take a flight and go in and teach Thursday and Friday and do a show Saturday and Sunday and be back with my kids on Monday, that would be heaven.
Perfect. Right. Perfect.
Absolutely so.
Well, we need to multiply you times like another 100,000 people at least, so we can get you into every school, because what you're doing is phenomenal. Like I said, I have 4 kids, and I know what's at school, and it's a lot of just teaching, reading, writing, and
it's a lot
science.
Of test prep these days. It's a lot of test prep is what I'm coming away with, the knowledge that it's a lot of test prep, and that's important. Don't get me wrong, but there are some kids like my son. My son is 17. His name is Chance. He's a terrific actor. He's taught himself musical theory in the past year. He just wrote, a one-act 3-scene play in verse. He wins acting awards all the time. He's got a band now. And all the test prep in the world is not going to mean a thing to him, because he's never going to. He's an artist.
Exactly.
That's what he's going to do. And there are a lot of children like that are just these incredibly talented artists. That all the algebra in the world, all the science in the world it's just never going to come to bear in their lives.
Right.
But,
right.
And he doesn't play football, so, I mean.
Yeah.
So
I think he He probably needs a class on how to fight the girls off with all he's doing, and if he looks anything like you, wow.
He doesn't fight them off. I wish he'd fight them off.
He just lets
more.
them keep coming, huh?
He doesn't dissuade their notion in any way. He does not. Again, kind of like the old man, but you know what? He'll settle down. We all do.
Of course. Now, you also did a presentation about bullying at LaSalle Elementary School. What was that like, talking to the kids?
I did a presentation about what? I'm sorry?
Bullying.
Oh, bullying, yes. Well, that's part of the Wild Bill in-school program. Hickok hated bullies.
Right.
Hated bullies. He was a big kid. He was a big man, and the way he was raised, he just could not stand to watch the stronger taking advantage over the weaker. It was the way he was raised, and he was raised not to stand there and watch it happen. And so many of his adventures, because my show is just about the truth. It's not about any of his legends. It's about the truth. Mm-hmm. His family was part of the Underground Railroad. They helped, free the slaves who were trying to get from the south to the north. They hid them on their property. They, at great personal peril, they transported them further north. So he was always a champion of the oppressed. And there's a very famous story about him that took place when he was a kid. There was this bully at the swimming hole who was ducking kids, and he picked on this kid who couldn't swim and damn near drowned him.
Oh, wow.
And so Bill went after this guy. Now, this is, I have to kind of tailor this program because Bill just beat the hell out of people who did stuff like that. He taught them, if you're going to do that, here's your pay for that. But that's, of course, not the answer. And the static fish what I promote when I talk to kids about this. But it's an interesting way to get into the conversation about bullying. I mean, clearly bullying is a topic that, when I read some of the things, kids being bullied on the internet and taking their own lives.
Yes.
At 13, 14, 15, 20, 22 years old, it's heart-wrenching.
Yes.
And, if I can use this larger-than-life character to go out, and I did this program, as you kindly brought up here, on last Wednesday, I did this program over in a grade school at a neighboring town, and it was 4th and 5th graders from 5 or 6 different schools, all within that school district there. And when the program was done, this one kid sought me out, and he said, I'm being bullied.
Oh.
And he came to Wild Bill for help.
Oh.
And it was just, if nothing else had happened that day, but that kid coming to me, and the program was done. The program was done, and he and I sat for some time. I don't know how long, 15, 20 minutes, half hour. And, he told me all about it, what was going on. And, I did not, I'm not trained personally to deal with that, although I think I'm going to go become that way. Mm-hmm. But I found out all the information that I could, and because he hadn't gone to his parents, he hadn't gone to his teachers, he came to Wild Bill.
Oh.
I'm
glad he
Wild
had
Bill
you
held
to
no
come
truck
to.
with bullies,
Yeah.
So, of course, I talked to his teacher afterwards, and, I've since heard from them, and there is a dialogue open now about this. And, that's a great thing. I feel wonderful that just, because, I was talking to 300 kids, but if you reach one like that, it's just, it's so worth it. It's so worth it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's, whether it's 1 or 10, it's still, you've accomplished what you set out to do, to try to help the kids.
Yeah, I wish I had realized that it might be possible that some kid would seek me out after I would have been, I think, better prepared.
Right.
But I was taken aback. I was glad for it, don't get me wrong.
Uh-huh.
But
right.
I was, wow, okay, great. I guess this worked,
right.
That the kid felt safe around me and safe enough to bring something up that he had brought up to no one else.
And that's the problem. That's the problem. Even though we tell our kids, you can tell us anything, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are going to tell you. And if they don't feel comfortable telling the teacher, because here they're getting bullied at school, so they figure, well, the teacher knows and they're not doing anything about it.
Well, and oftentimes, people don't handle it correctly, and it just makes the situation worse.
Yeah.
Why'd you tell them? Now I'm really going to get on you. I mean, it's just, and then you've got a whole other set of problems. It's now been cranked up a couple of notches, and now that kid who has the problem has really got it in spades. So you have to be very careful.
Yes, because they don't just beat them up anymore. Now they kill them if they don't kill themselves.
Or they so torture them that they take their own lives, and that to me is even somehow, I'm not saying it's worse, but it's just somehow more hauntingly horrible.
Well, I know from experience because my youngest son is bullied or was bullied. I haven't heard anything lately because he's a special needs child, and he has.
Well, my son is too. Yeah, my son is too.
He was since he was 3 years old. We've had him in special education. But now he's in high school, and that's where it really gets bad. So, but we took care of it.
Yeah, my boy's a senior this year. He's been mainstreamed the whole way. And, part of his thing, he has Asperger's, and part of his thing is they're so egotistical that oftentimes they don't get that they don't get sarcasm at all, for instance.
Right.
And he would come home and say, kids would say this, and he'd take it like they meant it, that they liked the way he walked or that they liked what he was wearing. And, of course, I knew what they were doing. And one of our big decisions as parents was, do we tell him what these kids are doing? I mean, because he was handling it exactly the way I would tell him to. He would look at them and say, thanks. Which took the wind right out of their sails, of course.
Exactly.
They didn't get it, So we did not inform him. We just let him go ahead and thank him. And the problem eventually went away when he became 6'2" and started to work out and is now built like Bruce Lee. The problem kind of went away. People would look at him and go, no, this might not be such a great idea to bully him. And the problem went away. But for a lot of kids, it doesn't work like that, and they're not that lucky. And I just did a keynote speech at the Food Allergy and Anaphylaxis Network Teen Summit in Washington, D.C. in mid-November, because with chance, food and allergies, having a gluten-free diet, all that was just absolutely so important, because without it, food allergies can exacerbate some of the obsessive-compulsive stuff.
Yes, they can.
So, of course, you bet they can. And so, talking, and there were a couple of kids there who, were bullied because of their food allergy. What do you mean you can't eat peanut butter? What kind of pussy are you? And I mean, I mean, there's nothing worse when you're in grade school or high school than being different. Good God knows there's nothing worse. You know, and any difference at all, and you just become a bit of a target. So, it's a shame. It's a shame.
And those kids have such low self-esteem, then they go ahead and go with, people that they shouldn't be hanging with, the bad kids that are getting into trouble, because they're taking him in, and now they feel they fit in somewhere. So they're going to go ahead and do whatever. And that's not good either.
No, it is not. No, it is not. No, there's a lot of stuff, and too oftentimes parents want the school to raise the kids, and the school expects the parents to be doing that, and and the kids fall through the cracks, and nobody's doing it, and other kids are doing it, and they're not doing it in a way that's helpful in any way. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, if you work together, you should be able to, help the kids every which way.
You have a better shot at it, that's for sure.
Yes.
That's for sure. Absolutely.
Well, I wanted to give a public service announcement right now about Wild Bill on Ustream for the 8th of December.
Yes, let me talk about that for just a little bit. I shared with you before we went live that we may have an issue. I just talked to the producer down there at the Jackson Film House. These are the folks that shot my comedy DVD, Wild and Willie and Jackson, live at South Street, which